Hello and welcome to this video on Lily de Silva, lesson 11. And in this video I'll be dealing with the vocabulary and the grammar. Now, looking at the vocabulary first, that's on page 41 of the printed book. There's a series of neuter nouns, some of them actually quite interesting, with a bit of history behind them. I'll go through them in the same order in which they appear here. So, apana, oops. A store, a shop, a bazaar. There's a suggestion actually that it might come from the root ap, meaning to obtain or to acquire, because it's the place where you do your gaining, your earning, you make your acquisitions, you make your profit, you run your shop. So the apana. It's not definitive that it is, but it could be. Now the next one, punya, that we all know. Punya. In Sanskrit, it is punya. Often translated as merit. I've dealt with this in other lessons. Merit really is not a terribly good word for it. Merit comes from the Latin merere, meaning to earn. So merit is something you've earned. And a lot of people in Southeast Asia treat punya as some kind of dharmic bank balance. You do a good act and you built up your bank balance. It's likely, I don't think it's definitively demonstrated by historical etymology, but it's perfectly possible that it comes from the root pu, with a short u, which is actually cognate with the Latin word purus and our English word pure. So it's purification. So punya is an act of purification. It's an act that you do that goes a certain way towards purifying the defilements. Next one, kamma, the word we know and love from Sanskrit karma, root kri, of course simply meaning to do. So karma, its ordinary meaning, means no more than action or doing. Now we have kusala and akusala. Translations here given as good and evil. Okay, this is quite a simple grammar. In a vocabulary like this, we don't have space. Lily de Silva doesn't have space, nor was she intending to give the full history and scope of the word. There's a great deal more to kusala and akusala than good and evil, of course. Kusala, often translated as wholesome. It is anything that's good. And you can, for example, be, if you're good at singing and dancing, good at singing and dancing. Kusalo, Gita Natcha is singing, dancing. If you're good at genitive here, if you're good at singing and dancing, in Pali it takes the genitive, what you're good at. You're kusalo Gita Natchasa, good at singing and dancing. And you, at the beginning of the Metta Sutta, you have the Karaniyam Atta Kusalena. This is what is to be done by one who is skilled in reaching the goal. And you can have Kusala Upaya. Kusala Upaya. Let's make that into the plural. Kusala Upaya. And by Santi, the A and the U join to merge to make O. So you get Kusala Upaya, frequently translated as skillful means, and in particular the kusalopaya, the kusala means that the Buddha used to teach, tailoring his teaching, how he put it, to make the maximum effect on the particular people he was talking to. It often means wholesome. Is wholesome in the sense of living the more holy and the fuller life. So it's got a broad range of meaning. Now, the next two words, dhana and dhanya. Despite appearances, they are unrelated. Dhana, meaning wealth, do not confuse with dana. There's any similarity is purely coincidental and nothing to do with each other. So dana, of course, the root is da, to give. Dhana originally means moving or running, and oddly enough, then it came to mean a prize for running in a race. And by general extension, and now the most common meaning of it, is anything that is prized or wealth. So anything material that's good to have, wealth, dhana, from that original meaning. And I don't think, although it has that odd that meaning originally derived from the prize for racing, I don't think I've ever seen it in actual use in any other meaning than ordinary wealth. And if you look at the dictionary, the list of compounds, dhana generally does mean wealth. Now, dhanya, meaning corn, actually any grain. Originally, I had thought that it was from dhana, so dhanya, Sanskrit dhana, dhanya, meaning to do with what is good, to do with wealth. No, dhanya actually comes from the Sanskrit from dha, meaning to put, and then a noun made dhana, that which was the to put and then to give birth to, going back to very primitive roots here. So the dhana, that which was the seeds that gave birth, the seeds that were placed in the ground and then gave birth. That was dhana. And then in Sanskrit, the dhanya, nothing to do with dhana, the dhanya was that which was produced by the earth, that which was given birth by the earth. And the dhanya, and then in Pali, became, by normal phonetic mutation, the ny followed by a vowel became a double nya, double n with the tilde, and the preceding long a was shortened to a short a. Bija, meaning a seed. Same in Sanskrit and Pali. And for example, in Sanskrit we have a bija mantra. The seed mantra, or sometimes the seed syllable. For example, Om is sometimes referred to as a bija mantra. There's the Hum and Yum and Ram and various ones like that. A bija mantra, the seed syllable. Dussa, not that common a word. There's no apparent root it comes from. I mean, there is the Sanskrit words. There are two Sanskrit words, dursha and also dushya, both meaning a type of woven cloth. They may not be from Indo-European roots, actually. They may be from earlier Dravidian roots and came into Vedic by that root. But then dursha and dushya then become dussa in Pali, meaning cloth. Chivara, a robe, and commonly used also to mean the monk's robe. We often see in the Pali Canon, in the suttas, the accounts of the Buddha taking up his robe and his bowl and going on the alms round, and that is patta chivaramadaya. The patta, his bowl, and the patta chivara becomes a compound, a bowl and robe. You can in Pali to say bowl robe, meaning bowl and robe. So patta Chivara, and Pattachivaram Adaya. Pattachivaram Adaya, literally having taken up, having taken, or just going out with his bowl and robe, having picked up his bowl and robe. Pattachivaram Adaya. Now the next one, Mula, same in Sanskrit and Pali. It means root, and also it means money. Also it means the price of something, the mula. And we have Rukhamula, a tree root. Rukhamula. Literally the root of a tree, literally, but mostly used, especially in a Buddhist context, to mean the foot of a tree. So, for example, when the monks were saying, what should we do? How should we follow this path? And the Buddha said, there are the roots of trees or the feet of trees. Go and sit. Atta Rukhamulani. There are the feet of trees. Siddhata, sit. It's the Rukhamulani. Tunda, possibly a Dravidian, not a Proto-Indo-European word, tunda, meaning a beak. Next one is Vedana. Vedana, sorry. Vedana. Not to be confused with Vedana, from a completely different root and different meaning. Vedana meaning sensation, a feeling. That's from the root vid, meaning to see or know or be aware. The Vedana, that which you know, that which you're aware of. Vedana, possibly, it's the same in Sanskrit, Vetanam. It's possibly from the root vrit, meaning to proceed or go or live. With vartana, which would mean you're going, you're living, the wage, the things you earn that keep you going. So vartana to vetana, it would be unusual for that mutation to occur in Sanskrit, but it does, and it's attested in the dictionaries. It's not absolutely definitive that vetana comes from vartana, but Monier Williams regards it as likely. So the vetana, that which keeps you going, your wage or your pay. Paduma, lotus. It's of course the same word as with a variation as the Sanskrit Padma. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme, the jewel in the lotus, locative. Pali doesn't quite like the D and the M together, so it makes it a three-syllable word, Paduma. We have Padmasambhava, of course, the lotus born. Gita, same in Sanskrit and Pali. And of course, we all know that. So you can have Gitam as a neuter noun, and equally you can have it in its feminine form, Gita, which we all know, of course, from the Bhagavad Gita, the divine song. Suvarna and Hiranya. Suvarna, interesting one there. In Sanskrit, I should Pali first, Suvarna. Sanskrit, the root varna, the original meaning of it is a color. And suvarna is nice color, or something that has a nice color, or something that is beautifully colored. And then by extension, that just came to mean gold. Now, a bit of fun etymology here. Serendipity. Serendipity. The knack of being able to find things just at the right time, just when you need them, even when you aren't looking. Serendipity. You have a serendipitous day in which you just find everything, things fall into place. This comes from an old tale, The Princes of Serendip. Serendip. Which is actually a corruption of the word, the name Suvarnadvipa. Suvarnadvipa. In Sanskrit, we're looking at now. Suvarnadvipa, which was another name for Sri Lanka. So Suvarnadvipa, the Golden Island, then became corrupted to Serendip, from whence we get this retold Indian tale, the Princes of Serendip, and serendipity, that's where it comes from. Now, Satya, the truth. We get the Arya Satyani, the noble truths. It's from the root as, meaning to be. It's an irregular verb, and its present, its participial or stem is sat, and in Sanskrit, add a ya, in the satya means that which is, or that which truly is, that which really is, and therefore the truth. Oops. And so by standard phonetic mutation, the satya in Sanskrit becomes satya in Pali. Paniya, drinking water. Those of you who know any Hindi will recognize the word pani, Hindi Urdu, pani, meaning water. It's actually from the root pa, to drink, and from pa, incidentally, the word we looked at a few moments ago, patta, meaning a bowl. In Sanskrit, it is patra, with the tra ending, meaning a tool or device for doing something you use to do something. So the patra is the drinking thing, the drinking bowl. So patra in Sanskrit then becomes patta in Pali. So from pa, one of the ways of making a future passive participle, that which must be done, or that which can be done, or is to be done, is adding aniya or just niya to the end. As in, for example, the very first word of the Metta Sutta, Karaniyam Attakusalena, that is from, we have Karaniya, to be done, needing to be done. Paniya means to be drunk, that which you can drink, the drinkable, paniya. In modern Hindi and Urdu, as I say, pani. And chitta, you know that word meaning the mind, from actually a root chit. The original meaning of that root chit was brightness. So the chitta is that by which you can see and understand, that which gives brightness. That's the original meaning of chitta. Now on to the verbs. Pariyesati. Pariyesati. Searches or looks for. The root is ish. And in Sanskrit, there are two forms for the present tense. You can say ichhati, which is a verb we know, ichhati, just he wants. You can also say eshati. They're both correct. In Pali, they're also both correct. Just note that in Pali, when the verb is used on its own without a prefix, ichati is more common. I want to go, gantubichami. When it is used with a prefix, and I think I'm right in saying that pariyesati is probably the most common prefix that's used with this verb, the more common form is esati, so that's why it's pariyesati. In Sanskrit, pari plus eshati would become paryeshati. In Pali, the riya, they don't quite like that, so that pari esati, almost the same, but not quite. But paryesati. Ichati, that means to want, also to be looking for something. Paryesati, pari means around. It suggests you're going around after something, you're going around wanting something. So looking for it here and there. That's the idea of paryesati. Arabhati. The root, there are two forms to this root, rub or rumb. They exist side by side. Arabhati. The nasal tends to drop out in the present tense. So arabhati, to start. Ussahati, to try. Okay, look here how the vocabulary here just only shows you a tiny part of the word, tiny part of the range of it. Ussahati. It's from the root sah. Sah has the idea of struggling against an obstacle, struggling, overcoming. And in fact, it's cognate with the German word Sieg, meaning victory, the idea of the struggle and the winning. And there's the Old English word Sieger. I don't think we have any remnants of it in modern English, but the Old English word Sieger means a victory. And in fact, in Icelandic, Sigur is a victory. So sah, the idea of struggling to win, a fight that you're trying to win. With the prefix ut, meaning cognate with our English out, but more has the meaning of up, like getting up and doing it. Ta to stand, utta, stand up. Utsa suggests then the striving, an endeavor, an energetic endeavor. The utsa becomes the ussas. The ussa, utsa in Sanskrit become ussa, ussahati, to strive, to endeavor. The verbal noun in Sanskrit, utsaha, in Pali, usaha, means an endeavor. And in the, I think it's the first or second verse of the Bodhicharyavatara in Sanskrit, that's the chapter on virya, which means energy, effort, vigor. And it's asked, kim viryam, what is virya? It's kushalotsaha. So in Pali it would be kusalosaha. So it's the, I'll write it in Sanskrit and Pali. Kushala utsaha, and that becomes the a and the u merge to become kushal utsaha. By the way, for those of you who don't know it, when I write a circumflex It's in some dictionaries done, it's a bit of an academic thing to write. Circumflex just indicates that it's a merging of two letters. So Kushala Utsaha by Santi merge into Kushala Utsaha. So it just helps the student to see it's a merger of two consonants. It's not, it doesn't reflect the Devanagari script, it would be just an unadorned O there. So the Kushala Utsaha means the endeavor to do what is Kushala, which we discussed a few moments ago, either that which is wholesome or skillful, or a combination of that which is good, wholesome, skillful. And in Pali, of course, that would be Kusalosaha. Kusalosaha. So there's a lot more to it than just the word tries that we see in the vocabulary. Now, upasankamati, from the root kram, of course in Pali, kamati, he steps. Upa kamati, to step up to or to approach, almost always found with a sum there. So upasankamati, approaches. And we very frequently see in the suttas somebody wants to ask the Buddha a question, so he approaches the Buddha, he approaches the upasankamati. Bhagavantam Buddham upasankamati, he goes up to the Buddha. Adhigachati, from the root gam, gachati, same in Sanskrit and Pali. Now, adhi, meaning up to or on. So on, go. In English, when we understand, stand under. In Sanskrit and Pali, you go onto it, you get on top of it, you got it. So adhigachati. And it can be a physical attainment or a mental attainment. So to obtain something, just get hold of it, is adhigachati. If you mentally get hold of it, meaning you understand it, also adhigachati is used. Gayati, sings. It's from the root gay. And from gayati, that's where also we get, which we had a few moments ago, Gita, which is actually the past participle. So Gita as an adjective means sung, that which is sung. As a neuter noun, Gitam, or as a feminine noun, Gita, it means a song. And the verb gayati, sings. Masati, that's the Sanskrit root mrish, meaning to touch, to masati in Pali. Mrish, just to touch. The masati suggests approaching and touching, putting your hand out towards it to touch. Masati. Bhayati. Bhayati. To fear. Bhaya is the verbal noun. Fear. You may know the name Abhaya, quite a common name in India, and I believe in Sri Lanka as well, Abhay, something like that. In modern Hindi, we pronounce Abhay, Abhay, either Abhay or Abhay. Bhayati, he fears. It's actually, we have the same root, it's the same root as we have in English, fear, and it's the same root as in Greek, phobia, meaning a fear. In Latin, pavor. In modern Italian, paura, all meaning fear. It's from that primitive Indo-European be root, meaning to fear. Chavati, to depart or to die. It's the Sanskrit root is chyu. In Sanskrit, it's Shyavati, and in Pali, Chavati. yeah, it means, actually the original meaning is to fall. And the normal word for to fall is patati. Chavati has a more extended meaning of either falling from a high position, or just your life failing at the end when you die. And in Sanskrit, the past participle is চ্যুতা. And we know the word pada means several things, but it can mean a footing or a stand, an abode. And if you are pada-চ্যুতা, you are fallen from your pada, you're rather the same as being knocked off your perch. It means being deposed. You're pada-চ্যুতা in Sanskrit, deposed, knocked off your podium. Incidentally, the pada and podium, from the etymologically the same. Uppajjati. Uppajjati. The root pad, same as from pada. Pad, the root meaning is to proceed or to go. Cognate with our English word foot, because the feet by which we move. So ut in Sanskrit, ut pad, literally go up. It means to arise, to come into being. And the verbal noun in Sanskrit is utpada. The verb in Sanskrit, the verb utpadyate. It's a fourth class verb, so it adds this year, utpadyate. And it's atmanepada, so it's not utpadyate, but utpadyate. So utpadyate becomes uppajjati in Pali. Utpada becomes uppada. And in our well-known paticca samuppada, often translated as dependent co-origination. So uppada, arising, samuppada, and in Sanskrit samutpada, coming into being born, not just rising, but rising and taking on a life or being of its own. That's the samutpada. In Sanskrit, I'm going to write with circumflex because pratitya is pratitya samutpada. It's our dependent co-origination. So there we have the Pali and Sanskrit forms of it, pratitya samutpada and pratitya samutpada. Next one, kipati. To throw. Kship is the root. Recently, in the Pali classes, when I say recently, I'm making this video in August 2021, we had the word sankitena, meaning in summary, in brief. So kship, to throw, with the prefix some, throw together, put together, summarize, condense. So in Sanskrit, sankshipta, literally thrown together, means condensed or summarized. And sankitena, Sanskrit sankshiptena, that's the past participle, sankshipta. Sankshiptena, Pali sankitena, means it's instrumental, of course, the ena ending, but used adverbially. So blah, 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 in brief, or to summarize, so say it extensively than sankitena. In brief, I summarize as follows: sankitena. That's from that same root, kship. Vapati, sows as in sowing seeds. Akankati, that's it's a Sanskrit root, kanksh, meaning to long for or desire something. Akankati. Akankshati in Sanskrit, akankati in Pali. It's more than just, hoping. Yes, you could translate it as hoping. It's this having an aspiration towards something, having a desire towards it. So yes, hoping is okay, but as so often, there's more to the story than just that. Now, sibbati. Sibbati. Those of you who are looking at the printed book will see that there is a misprint here, because it's written as sows with an O, as in sowing seeds. That is an error. The misprint in the book, it's actually sows with an E, as in needle and thread sewing. Now, in Sanskrit, there is twin roots of two forms, siv, S, I, and V, and also, I'm just double checking this now, so yes, S, Y, and long. So siv and siu are effectively the same word that's taken on two different forms. You'll see that in the first of them, it's got the pure vowel E, followed by the semivowel V. In the second form, the E becomes a semivowel Y, and the semivowel V becomes the full vowel U. So siv, and siu are from the same root. And it doesn't take much imagination, I hope, to see that our English word so, and even the way we spell it, so, siv in Sanskrit, so, probably pronounced something so in older English, and so, that's where we get it. You can make a noun with a tra in it, so in Sanskrit, they actually drop out the ya when they make it. So, for example, sutra, there we are, sutra, something that's sewn up. That's where we get the Sadi and Pali. Sutta. So, sutta, sutra, siv, siu, so, English so. The root it's a fourth class verb in Sanskrit, so it adds a ya in the conjugation. So, siv, he sows, is sivyati. And in Pali, the vya coming together becomes a double B, and it shortens the preceding vowel. So in Pali, it becomes sibbati. So there we see how sibbati comes from sivyati, siv, cognate with our English word to sow. I will leave the grammar now of the present participle until the next video. I see there's already nearly 40 minutes on this one. But I will proceed with the same what's called an iPad document. So that's it. I'll wind up now with the vocabulary on this video. Then we will do the present participle in the next video. And for those of you who think there's just one simple page, well, there is just one simple page in Lily de Silva, page 42 in the printed book. There is a lot more to it, and we'll deal with that in the next video.